I never thought I'd be sharing this story, but I can't keep it inside anymore. It's been eating at me for months. I started working as a night shift nurse at Oak Ridge Memorial Hospital back in November. It's this small hospital out in the middle of nowhere, like a 40-minute drive from my apartment. The pay was better than what I was making before, so I took it, even though the commute sucked. The first few weeks were pretty normal. Night shift is usually quiet, except when it's not, you know? I'd spend most nights doing rounds, checking on patients, updating charts. My supervisor, Dr. Kelvin, seemed nice enough at first. He's this tall guy with these really thick glasses that make his eyes look huge. My coworker, Brenda, told me he'd been at Oak Ridge for like 20 years or something. Anyway, it was around my third week when I started noticing weird stuff with the patient charts, like little things that didn't add up. Medications being administered that weren't prescribed, or dosages that seemed way too high. I figured it was just sloppy record-keeping at first. There was this one patient in room 237, an older lady named Mrs. Winters. According to her chart, she'd been in the hospital for months with some kind of rare autoimmune condition. The weird thing was she was always asleep whenever I checked on her. And I mean always. I never once saw her eyes open. One night, I was going through her medication records and noticed something super weird. She'd supposedly received 400 milligrams of prazosin daily for 2 weeks straight. That's enough to kill someone her size. I double-checked everything, thinking I was reading it wrong, but nope. I decided to ask Brenda about it during our break. She got this strange look on her face and just said, "You should probably just focus on your signed patients." Then she changed the subject super fast. It was weird, but I didn't push it. That same night, I was in the break room when I overheard 2 orderlies talking about the nurse who asked too many questions. They shut up as soon as they saw me. I pretended I didn't hear, but my heart was racing. I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I used the hospital computer to look up staff records. I found out there was a night nurse before me named Marisa Thorne, who had suddenly quit about 2 months before I started. No notice, just stopped showing up. The weird part? She'd reported inconsistencies in patient care just days before disappearing. I know I should have minded my business, but something felt really wrong. The next night, I made sure to check on Mrs. Winters extra carefully. I noticed these fresh surgical scars on her abdomen, perfectly straight lines that looked professional but recent. I checked her chart. No surgeries listed for the past month. I took pictures with my phone, which I know is against policy, but something seriously sketchy was going on. I was so focused on the scars that I didn't hear the door open behind me. "Nurse Zara, what are you doing?" It was Dr. Kelvin. His voice made me jump so bad I dropped my phone. "I was just checking her vitals," I said, trying to sound normal. He smiled this weird smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Mrs. Winters is a special case. You know, your predecessor Marisa was also curious about her. Always taking notes, asking questions." My stomach dropped. I never told him I knew about Marisa. "Marisa had red hair like you," he continued, picking up my phone and handing it back. "She used to wear that same strawberry perfume too, and she had that same little star tattoo on her wrist. I've never mentioned my tattoo to anyone at work. I always keep it covered with my watch." "How did you—" "Marisa decided to take an extended vacation," he interrupted. "Very extended. She was stressed, you see, seeing things that weren't there, making accusations. The way he looked at me, like he knew exactly what I was thinking." I mumbled some excuse and practically ran from the room. As I was leaving, I swear, I heard Mrs. Winters make this soft moaning sound, like she was trying to say something. I quit the next day, made up some family emergency. Dr. Kelvin just smiled and said he understood completely. As I was walking to my car, he called after me. "Zara, if you ever need a reference, just call. I know where to find you." I moved 2 weeks later. Changed my phone number too. I still don't know what was happening at Oak Ridge Memorial, and honestly, I don't want to know. Sometimes I think about calling the police, but what would I even say? That a doctor knew about my tattoo? That some patient records seemed off? All I know is whenever I drive past hospitals at night now, I keep going. And I never, ever look back. I drive Highway 43 every day for my delivery job. Nothing special about the route, just trees and empty fields. But there's this one spot I always notice, a small wooden cross with flowers. What's weird is the flowers are always fresh, like someone changes them all the time. I didn't think much of it until I overheard some folks at Mabel's Diner talking about the Baker accident. When I asked, they told me about Jessica Baker, this 16-year-old killed in a hit-and-run 5 years ago. The driver was never caught. I looked it up that night. Jessica was walking home from a friend's house when she was hit. No witnesses, no leads, nothing. Last week, my car started making this clicking noise. I kept putting off getting it checked. Big mistake. It died on me right on Highway 43, about half-mile from that memorial. The sun was setting. My phone had barely any battery. I called a tow truck, but they said it'd be an hour wait at least. With nothing to do, I walked to the memorial. The flowers that day were white lilies. As I stood there, I noticed a small dirt path heading into the woods behind the cross. I'm not sure why I followed it. The path wasn't long. Maybe quarter mile through trees before opening to a small clearing with an old hunting cabin. The cabin looked abandoned, peeling paint, moss on the roof. But there was light inside, just a faint glow from a lantern. I should have turned back. Instead, I peeked through a dirty window. Inside was simple: table, chair, cot in the corner. But what made my heart stop was the wall covered with photographs. Hundreds of them. All cars driving down Highway 43. Then I saw my car, my blue Honda with the dent in the bumper, not just once. Multiple photos from different days. Next to these photos was a paper with license plate numbers. Mine was there too, circled in red with "Witness" written beside it. And nearby, newspaper clippings about Jessica's death and police reports. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. That's when I heard tires on gravel. I ducked behind the cot as a headlight swept through windows. Car door slammed. Footsteps approached. A man entered, maybe 50. Flannel shirt, work boots. He put down a camera and notebook on the table. He pinned up new photos, including one of my broken-down car from today. He added my license plate to his list, then stared at it before saying, "Finally found you." I stayed frozen until he went to the outhouse behind the cabin. Then I ran straight through the woods, not even using the path. I reached my car just as the tow truck arrived. I quit my job the next day, moved to my sister's place in another town. Was he the driver who killed Jessica? Was he hunting witnesses or something else entirely? I don't know, but I'm never driving Highway 43 again. So, I live in this small house on about 3 acres of land. Nothing fancy. It's kind of remote, which is why I bought it. I'm into wildlife photography. Been doing it as a hobby for like 5 years now. Last Christmas, my sister got me these trail cameras. You know, those motion-activated ones you strap to trees. I set them up around my property to catch deer, foxes, whatever comes around. For the first month, it was just normal stuff. Deer eating. A family of raccoons. One time, I caught a pretty cool shot of an owl swooping down. Normal nature stuff, nothing weird. Then, about 6 weeks ago, I noticed something on camera 3. At first, I almost missed it. Just the edge of something in the frame. When I looked closer, I realized it was a person. Standing right at the edge of my property, kinda hidden between trees, just watching my house. I figured maybe it was someone from the area, hunting or something. But something about it felt wrong. The way they stood so still, just staring. I couldn't make out their face. They were wearing dirty clothes, kinda ragged looking. I went back through old footage, and that's when I got that sick feeling in my stomach. This person had shown up before. First time was like 3 weeks earlier, but they were further back in the trees, then again a week later, but closer. Each time, they were getting nearer to my house. What really freaked me out was the timestamps. First visit, 3:42 a.m., second, 2:15 a.m., third, 1:37 a.m. They were coming earlier each time, getting braver or something. I didn't sleep that night, kept looking out my windows, jumping at every little noise. My dog Rusty was acting weird too, kept growling at nothing. Next morning, I called the cops. Officer Mendez came out, looked at the footage. He walked my property, but didn't find anything. Said he'd drive by more often, told me to get better locks. That night, I couldn't focus on anything. Kept checking the cameras on my phone app every few minutes. Around 9 p.m., I remembered I forgot to check today's footage from the afternoon. When I pulled it up, my hands started shaking so bad I dropped my phone. Camera 4, the one by my shed, had caught someone. The same person. In broad daylight. They were inside my shed, going through my stuff. But the last image is what made me pack a bag and drive straight to my mom's house. The figure had turned toward the camera, staring right into it. And in their hands were photographs. Pictures of me. Inside my house. Eating dinner. Sleeping on my couch. Pictures I never saw being taken. I haven't been back since. The police are investigating, but they haven't found the person. They said the photos must have been taken from outside with a zoom lens, but I don't believe that. Some of those angles, they had to be taken from inside my house. I've got my house listed for sale now. I don't care if I take a loss, some things aren't worth the risk. I keep thinking about those pictures and how long that person must have been watching me before I ever noticed them on my trail cams. Sometimes I wonder, what if I never bought those cameras? Would I still be there, completely unaware of the eyes watching me every night?